I thought, how could we devise a little plan or steps that students could easily follow? And I think that these 7 steps do this. They're represented in the handout in 3 different ways. There's a kind of a scroll, there's little blocks, and there are some steps. So that gives students 3 different opportunities to get the information. The rest of the handout is appendices, bits added on. So that's nice for students. They have to read the first 3 pages first, and then the rest of it they can dip in and out of as they go along. So that's the way they would use it, I'd say. It's for students to really think about what works for me. Is this a bit bright here for me? Maybe I need to sit over there. Am I bothered by people coming and going? I need to sit somewhere. So it's to have a physical environment, to make sure you're distraction free, and just notice that you settle with yourself and that you're curious, you're awake, you're not starving, you're not too cold, so that you're ready to be engaged.
I like a place where it's quiet where I can focus. And the scenery will put me off as much as I love the scenery. I like to be on my own where I can focus and concentrate. I can read at my own space, at my own pace, and I can concentrate and I can speak out loud. No one's around. If people are around, I get distracted easily and I lose focus, and then I just give up.
We've got this great big fat textbook. Let's just stop for a minute and think about that. Why on earth am I reading it? What do I have to know? What do I have to do with it? What do I know already? You know, is there some kind of time frame? Do I have to have some kind of plan? How am I going to keep track of it? So that's the stop and think. Just take a pause before you jump in and think about what is this process going to be like. With academic articles, research articles, if students don't clearly understand the title, they haven't got an idea of what they're reading about. There will be keywords. They need to pick those keywords out. You can get them even to flick through, pick out the words they don't know, and really get the hang of what they mean. And this is particularly good in a class or in groups, because often the dictionary is a bit of a bogey old thing for people who haven't read much. Have you ever skimmed a pebble on the lake? And so what happens? It just bounces. That's what skimming is. You don't particularly land anywhere, you just go poof, 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 poof. So when you're reading a book, you're just going poof, 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 like that, quite quick.
Let's do your blood pressure.
Anything you like.
Okay.
A scan, have you ever had a scan? Bit more detail, isn't it? It's a much closer look. So the skim is flick, 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 flick. Nice, relaxed, flicking the books through, lovely. Oh, there's a picture here, oh, this, that, blah, blah. A scan is a much closer look. You're really going to zoom in much more. What are you looking for? What is the detail? What goes underneath this big heading that you've seen in your skim? So this is the detail bit. So let's look at this graph. What is this graph telling me? How is it demonstrating to me something about what I need to know? Here's a little case study. If I read that case study, what's it going to tell me? How is it going to help me with my inquiry, with what I need to learn? With active reading, you need to stop, take a break, think, now what have I remembered so far? What are the key points? How am I going to keep track of those key points? How am I going to remember them? And some people might use tables, some people use mind maps, people might walk around and count on their fingers, but they have to do something with it. So if somebody says, you know, I'm reading away and I get to page 3, I don't know what it's about, I don't know even what the topic is anymore. The person hasn't got a clear idea of the look of it before they start. That's a challenge for students actually, to keep the big picture and shift into the detail. You've got to keep the big picture, keep your purpose, keep being clear about your purpose. Go into a bit of a detail, come back. Is this detail part of why I'm reading it, or am I going in too far? Before you read, part of the purpose is knowing what you have to do with it. So you don't want to get to the end of the chapter and then suddenly think, well, so what am I meant to do with this? You want to know that before you start. You want to know before you start how you're going to track it, how you're going to summarise it. So you have to know before you start what you have to do with it. Are you learning it for an exam? Is it for an assignment? Is it for a class presentation? So you have to know what you have to do with it at the beginning.